All right, assembly and setup. There's a couple things to point out on the equipment here, regards to on the back side. Got our power connection here. There is a USB connection. There's also a network connection. And there's also the phone line connection. It's kind of hiding up here in the blue area. The printer is a multi-function printer, so it's actually capable of course, printing. It can be a mild copier, and it can also send and receive faxes. Depending on how the printer is set up will dictate which cables and such you're going to be using for it. The printer can be set up as a USB printer where you're connecting directly to a laptop. It can also be a network printer on a wired network where we're running an actual Cat5 cable to the printer directly. And the printer is also capable of being on a network in a wireless environment when we are using our Red Cross WAPs. The first example that we're going to show is how we're going to connect it when we're selecting a location on a USB setup. So in this example, we're not going to use any of the network cables. We're strictly just going to be using the printer functionality of it. So essentially, we just need to use the power cable and the USB cable. Take our green twist ties off. It's usually helpful to twist them right back onto the cable here so that they are available when you pack the equipment up. So we've selected the location for our printer, which is right here on the table. This is where we're going to set it up. And I'm just going to plug in the USB cable on the back side. Connect my power cable. Spin around here. And then I've got a laptop here that's the printer will be connected to. I'm just going to plug the USB cable into the laptop. And then I'm going to power up the printer by plugging it right in. This particular printer has a soft power button on it. When you first plug it in, it will just turn on by itself. So there's no other intervention that you need to do with regards to that. You'll plug it in, and then you'll hear some beeps. And then there's some additional steps on the laptop that you'll need to finish to properly set up the printer following the DTP. The second way to set up a printer is on a network environment. In this example, we're going to have a wired network connected to the printer directly. So after placing your printer in the location it's going to be used, and then you're going to connect the network cable. The switch does not need to be right next to the printer. It could be somewhere else at the location where you're setting up. But we're just illustrating here that we're essentially just running a cable from the network jack on the back of the printer. And then we're just going into an available port on the switch here. Remember, we start with the lowest number, go up for devices, end user devices. So we got the network cable plugged in, and then I'm going to go ahead and plug the power cable in, and it's going to power up on its own, and then we're going to wait for that to complete. The printer, when you first power it up, is going to print an information page about its setup in its current state, which will become useful in a moment. So it's plugged into our network here. It has power and has started up. And then there are going to be some additional steps that you're going to go over in the DTP to set it up for the specific type of wired environment that it's in. In this example, the printer setup, we're going to be on a network that is wireless. This printer, the Workforce 3225, has wireless built into the printer itself, and they are pre-configured to connect to our DRO WAPs that we use on operations. So setup in that type of network environment is relatively straightforward. Essentially, we're going to select a location for the printer, plug the power cable in the back, wait for the printer to set up. Can make some noise and beeps and things. All right, now when you plug the printer in, it prints out an information page on its current setup with regards to networking stuff. But essentially, we are done with the physical setup of the printer in this environment. And then there are going to be some additional steps that you're going to follow in the DTP with regards to the individual workstations and also the server if that's present.